Hi friends, Amanda here. So I'm checking in about the full moon in Aquarius on August 15th at 8:29 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is a special video for patron only, a special reading and channeling here for patrons only, because there's a lot of new patrons that have joined the community. So I just wanted to say hello, welcome you, do something a little special, and thank you so much for your support for patrons old and new. Y'all keep me going here, and I really am transitioning into being able to do this work for you full time, and so your monetary monthly contribution is a massive cornerstone of that for me. So I can't thank you enough. So, as we're thinking about this Aquarius full moon, it's at 22 degrees Aquarius, for those of you who find that useful to know. Before I even sat down to meditate on the energies of this moon, the work of Hilma af Klint was calling to me, and for those of you who are familiar with her work, you will understand why, I'm sure. She was an artist at the turn of the century in Sweden, and she was way more than an artist, visual artist. She was a channel. And the work that she created was perhaps, at least she felt, and she was being guided, that it was before her time, that the work that she was creating was actually for such a time as this. And so she requested that her work not be shown publicly until this time in history, even though she was making work in the early 1900s, which is this incredible, you want to talk about faith in the divine, faith in divine timing, and faith in divine guidance. She was being divinely guided that her work was not to be released until far after she passed from this earth plane. And instead of saying, no, I created all this work and it needs to be shown while I'm alive, I want some sort of credit for this, she trusted in the spiritual guidance that she was feeling so strongly. And so it was just released at the Guggenheim, and I had the privilege to go see it with a dear friend who also got me this book of all of her journals and artwork. And so I've been just devouring it voraciously ever since. And so Hilma, this beautiful star being channel, in one of her notebooks entitled Flowers, Mosses, and Lichens, she's very inspired by nature and the forms of nature. Here's what this looks like, the cover of that notebook. She uses symbols a lot in her work, which is a bit hard to decipher. But this book was calling to me. She was calling to me. There's some sort of message that needed to come through here from Hilma for this Aquarius full moon. And I gotta say, that's never happened to me before, but here we are. So I gotta share it. In the first page of her notebook, it is April 22nd, 1919 is the date. The 22nd up here in the 23rd. You can see her gorgeous handwriting. And she's drawn two symbols here. This symbol here and this symbol here. And of this top symbol, she writes joy. Of this bottom symbol down here, she writes eager liveliness and repressed warmth of feeling. Joy and eager liveliness and repressed warmth of feeling are the messages that are coming through Hilma's channeled notebook for this full moon in Aquarius. So there's something coming through here about the repression of our joy thus far, the repression of what our hearts truly desire, of where our joy is taking us. There's something, and I found this to be true, like collectively and in my own life as well. There's something so deeply essential for humanity right now about honoring your joy, honoring your truth about what brings you joy and about what your heart desires to do here on this earth. And in this time, we have got to honor that. No more repression of those warmth feelings, no more repression of that joy. It's got to come forward. And there was another page that wanted to be seen, and it's sort of the part 2 of that. And now we jump to May 1st, 1919. And we've got 2 drawings here. She writes, mosses and lichens. The images are seen on the astral plane, under the protection of, and she just draws an arrow for this symbol right here, which looks like the number 4 in Roman numerals. Indifference toward the dichotomy. 2 forces struggle in the spirit of nature for and against fertilization. There's a tug of war between 2 forces, for and against fertilization, for and against the fertile ground for your joy, for the warmth of feeling, for where your heart is leading you. You getting what I'm saying here? This is coming for such a time as this, because, and which is a phrase I just keep saying, for such a time as this, for such a time as this. We are transitioning from the hanged man portion of the year, where we are all gaining spiritual enlightenment through whatever respective discomforts, struggles, periods of limbo that we have been through. And we are transitioning through that enlightenment, through that aha moment, realization of our souls. We transition into the Empress year that's all about fertility. That's all about abundance here on this earth plane, led by spiritual guidance, by the guidance of our souls, our spirits, of what our hearts want. It's really directed by our joy. The struggle for and against fertilization. That's that struggle as we transition into the Empress half of the year. And then she writes about this drawing down here. Defiant resistance to the dichotomy. The thought of fertilization gains the upper hand. The moss found furthest north. The thought of fertilization gains the upper hand. The joy, the warmth of feeling, the fertile ground, the abundance gains the upper hand. And I'm not sure what she intended this image to be, but it certainly looks to me like dandelion seed, which is an image that has been coming up a few times in personal readings lately, which is interesting. And here it is. I've been calling them wishies since I was a kid. They are those, when the dandelion goes to seed, it turns into those puffs that you can blow and make a wish, and it goes out into the wind in search of fertile ground to lay seed. It's joy. When you're a kid and you make a wish, that's such, on a wishy, that's that joy, that's that repressed warmth that in the end wins out. In the struggle, fertilization wins out. Because we want to grow. That's almost like the, like life always wins. Life will find a way. That's what this feels like to me. And so for our reading today, I'm using the Illuminated Earth Oracle deck, which I just received in the mail. I supported this deck on Kickstarter. The artist is Claire Mack, and I've been excited to start using this deck and make it part of these readings here. It's dark and rainy here today, so I'll do my best to make sure you can see all of the beautiful artwork here on this deck. I'm very excited to use it. So let's get to it. Let's see what the cards have to say about this full moon in Aquarius as we meditate on joy, warmth, and fertilization. Thanks to the work of Hilma af Klint. Full moon in Aquarius on August 15th, 2019. Wow. We've got Source. Gorgeous card. Notice how, at least, wow, I see so much in this image. So you want to talk about fertilization. First I see the earth and I see something, a source of energy outside of the earth. And you can see that it is pulling, at least what I see, it's pulling the earth. See those subtle lines here, little dots? It's pulling the earth towards its abundance, towards its fertile ground. I also see a womb and the earth being held in this womb, some seed being held in this womb. Source, the beginning, the origin, creation. What a way to start. Make sure you can see that. What else can we get for this Aquarius full moon? Okay. Wow. Y'all, what did I just say about the transition from the Hanged Man half of the year? Epiphany. Into the Empress half of the year. Fertilization, connection with Source, leading to fertilization, which helps us to evolve. This is evolution. This epiphany, the star, which feels very much like Aquarius. The star card in the major arcana of the tarot is the Aquarius card. And also numerologically, if you add up all of the numbers of the date for the 15th, you get 17. You get 17, 8. 17, 7 plus 1 is 8. 17/8, okay? That is the star, number 17, and strength. The star card, Aquarius, on the Aquarius full moon, epiphany, leading to evolution. And what I see in this evolution is the growth of this coral plant that's shown here. Again, being divinely inspired by that star, being pulled up by this star. You could even see this as the form evolving into the star. All right, what else can we get for this Aquarius full moon? Obstacle. I really like this card because to me, all I see, yes, this is a very large boulder type blockage energy in the way, but actually what I see in this card is all the ways around it. The light shining down illuminates all of the ways around this obstacle. You could go under, you could go around, you could go over top. And it also feels like there's something glowing on the other side. There's something glowing on the other side of this obstacle. That wants to go here on top of evolution. It's like this epiphany that comes from source is looking towards the obstacle, which is also the evolution. It's the catalyst for this evolution. Let's see what else we can get for this Aquarius full moon. Wisdom. Dang. Epiphany, obstacle, evolution, source, wisdom. It's the pearl. See that? The pearl inside the clamshell. I also see this as a tree. The tree of the knowledge. This also feels like source. See? These orbs. Source is coming through here for all of our collective evolution, providing both the obstacles and the epiphanies that we need in order to evolve to the next stage, in order to move into this place of greater wisdom. You know, epiphany feels like the moment, the flash, and then wisdom is much, it's almost like that flash then expands, starts to seep outward into something larger, more holistic, this wider view about our evolution and about the obstacles that we have faced. Let's see if we can get maybe one more card. Whoa. Grief. Didn't quite expect that. This is actually so far my favorite card in this deck. I'll tell you why. It feels, I mean, it makes sense that it would be emotionally visceral because we're looking at grief. But it feels like such an emotionally visceral card. Here you are standing on the earth, that wolf howling up towards this, see the other wolf curled up here? That's what I see. Being taken away. The grief is about the separation. What I see in this card, and actually really what I hear in this card, is the wolf howling for itself, for its higher self, and the grief that comes with being separated from that. For some of us, this could be quite literal. This could be something that's manifesting here on this 3D Earth plane. But if that's the case, this spread is here to show that whatever grief is present in your life at this time, this week, this month. It is coming from a higher source. It is offering you an epiphany towards evolution, and it very well may be the obstacle that you're facing. Strangely enough, it may also clear that obstacle somehow. Releasing, letting go. Releasing, letting go of this thing that it's just time, you know? It's like source, this orb, has come and scooped up this other wolf. Because it's time for this one to transmute, to rise up. And there's grief with that. So whether this is your own spiritual evolution and a part of you has to be scooped up and taken away in favor of this larger evolution, this force of evolution, the driving force. And yeah, there's grief with that. But it's leading to higher wisdom. Wow. So we had Clint start the reading. We have Klimt, the tiny Klimt tarot, finishing the reading. We're going to take a little bit of clarity here. Let's see what messages the Klimt tarot has to offer to clarify this reading. We're going to start with the obstacle. Clarifying the obstacle, please. This Aquarius new moon reading. Full moon reading. Feels like a new moon, doesn't it? Feels like a new beginning. Yeah. Six of Cups. Six of Cups is talking about the past. And we've been talking about that so much lately if you've been following these readings. We're talking about the past. The past is the obstacle right now. The past is the thing that we need to somehow get under, get over top, get around in order to evolve, in order to move forward. Whatever that is for you, that can manifest in past ways of being in relationship. Often it could also be childhood things, family things that you're overcoming. It can talk about inherited ways of relating. But regardless, the Six of Cups is talking about... It's interesting that we're talking about childhood and the ice cream truck is going by. Just saying. This is inherited ways of feeling through our emotions. It's something emotional regarding the past. Past relationship, past life, past, childhood, family, whatever. Something about the past is the obstacle here. Let's look at the evolution. What's the evolution? The King of Swords. It's the truth. It's the expression of the truth is the evolution. The truth coming out is the evolution. We are evolving into that King of Swords energy, and we are evolving into one that embodies our truth and moves out in the world from a place of absolute truth. Standing in the truth, standing in what's true, which also often means following our joy. Because I'll tell you, if you're wondering what's true for you, it's your joy. It's whatever your heart bursts for. That's your truth. It just is. What's this epiphany? Epiphany from Source. What's the epiphany? Yeah, exactly. The epiphany is Seven of Swords. Whatever has kept us in struggle. Oh my God, it's the struggle between two forces on the dichotomy that Hilma talked about. It's the struggle between two forces for and against fertilization. See? It's this struggle here. What I see in this is this person's arms being pulled in two directions. I know that's not exactly what's happening. But the Seven of Wands is about standing up and saying, no, this is the truth. I'm not being pulled in two directions anymore. This is my truth. And part of saying this is my truth means putting down the burdens, 10 of Wands, of anything that's not the truth. Anything that doesn't actually align with the truth. Moving towards, 4 of Wands, a structure for joy. And what I see in this is someone nurturing their inner child, following the call of their inner child, which of course is leading you towards joy. And this feels like a child, this being. The epiphany of the inner child is the epiphany of joy, of movement towards joy and putting down the burdens of anything that is not our joy, not our truth. Let's look at this grief. What's the grief that comes with this process? What is the grief that comes with this process? What can you tell us? Okay, we got the Hermit. The Hermit energy is going off on your own path. It's looking deep within and allowing the light that is that lantern that's just right at the center of us to move us forward, to be our lamppost that leads us forward. But it is moving forward often in a solo sojourn, a journey of our soul. And moving forward alone in that way, going off on our own path, often means a process of letting go. And of course there's grief with that. There's always grief with the process of letting go. But we've got to be true to ourselves now. We've got to. It's imperative. You know, the Hermit is also a card of having faith. And so is Aquarius, by the way, the Star card. I'm feeling like actually I want to pull out the Star card for you from our Spolia deck here, because it really is the card that exemplifies that faith energy for me that Aquarius offers. Here we go. There it is. That's the epiphany. I'm actually just going to put this right here. Hope you can see that. That's what's leading us right now. That Aquarius moon is the star that is leading us forward, that's calling our faith forward. Because now is a time of taking leaps of faith. It's the Fool card. It's the Zero card. Taking the leap of faith into the unknown, trusting that we're following our joy. We're following ourselves. We're following our true calling. We're following our hearts. I can't stress enough how imperative that is. And you know, today, the day that I'm recording this, is the 13th. Astrologer, she's pretty famous, Johnny Nicholas, you know this person, posted on Instagram about following your joy. taking a risk, being willing to risk everything for your joy. And I was like, yes, Chani, because that is everything I'm feeling right now. Everything that has been coming through to me about what this time, for such time as this, what this time is really about, is about taking that risk for your joy. Risking that grief, risking letting go in order, I said that grief, and I don't know if you saw that, but I like knocked my cards, and the 5 of Cups just made itself known, which is the card of grief in the tarot. Risking that grief in order to do what you know is right for you, in order to heed the call of your inner child, which is towards joy. Let fertilization win. Wow. So this is going to manifest for all of you in different ways. If you are interested in a personal reading about how this full moon is affecting you, you can, of course, upgrade to the Pentacles tier, or just get in touch with me. Let me know what's going on. We'll do a personal reading and see what's going on. Again, I love y'all. You are just nourishing my spirit by being here and by being part of this community. And I wish y'all the best on this Aquarius full moon. I think it's going to be a big one. And I am looking forward to seeing what comes our way from taking these leaps. Okay. Take care, everybody. I'll talk to you soon.